You know that the green roughages, they mostly contain about 60 to about only 25% dry matter, and rest is water. And but the nutrient contents in these green fodders, although they are less, but they are the major choice for the dairy animals, because on eating these green roughages, the animals have a cooling effect, and sometimes they can even eat up to 6% of the dry matter, 6% of their body weight. And in such cases, many problems in animals may arise, like that of board problem, which can affect the metabolic reactions within the animal. The wheat straw, which is a dry roughage, it needs to be given to the animal along with the green rough forage, so that the dry matter requirement of the animal can be met, and in order to fill the appetite of the animal, so that the animal may realize that he has eaten something, and the metabolic disturbances, they can be avoided. Usually the intake of green roughages, it is, in normal cases, it is about 2.5% of the body weight of the animal, whereas the dry roughages intake, it is about 1.5 kg per 100 kg body weight of the animal. And the feed cost in dairy animals, they usually is about 60% of the total milk production cost, and the rest, it is mainly dependent on the maintenance and other expenditures in the animal rearing. And this feeding, it has the most influence on the amount of the milk which the animal produces. In case of dairy animals, the nutritional requirement of the animal, it has very much influence on the production. Suppose if the animal is not having 16% nitrogen content in their ration, the milk fat production is affected of the milk. And so you have to go for balanced formulation of the ration. And this balanced ration, it should be prepared in such a manner that you go for incorporation of different feed ingredients, because no single feed ingredient is fulfilled in all the nutrients. And the basis for dairy rations, it is the roughages. When we are going for meeting out the dry matter requirement of the animal, we try to give about the total dry matter about 60% through the roughages and 40% through the concentrates. And maximum it can be up to 50-50. 50% dry matter through the roughages and 50% through the concentrate, so that the animal, when consumes the ration, the production of the volatile fatty acids, it may be normal. But if you are giving about 60% dry matter through the concentrate and 40% through the roughages, in such cases, the acidosis condition may arise in the animal. These are the different feed ingredients. Normally, in case of feeding dairy cattle, two methods are followed. The traditional method is that in villages, the farmers, they feed the concentrates individually to the animal based upon their milk production. And at some farms, the roughages are fed mostly by free choice, and concentrate, it is given in very limited amount, because concentrates are costly. And roughages, they are mostly fed in feed bunkers and mangers. But the modern farms are now moving out to free choice feeding in order to get maximum milk production from the animal. In order to get maximum milk production, we challenge the animal to give its maximum yield depending upon the genetic potential of the animal. And in such cases, we go for formulation of diet in such a manner using the bypass protein and fat, so that the animal can produce its maximum limit. And usually in such cases, more concentrates, they are given in early lactation soon after parturition, and less concentrates are given during the late lactation. And when the milk production drops, then we decrease the concentrate. Then challenge feeding, it also requires good record keeping so that you can prepare in advance to get the milk yield production from the animal and prepare its diet accordingly. Then the total mixed ration. You know that if you are going for feeding of concentrates separately and roughages, then usually there is a trend that when we are going for milking of the animals, first we go for feeding of the roughages, and during the lactation, when we are going for milking, then we feed some concentrates in front of the animal so that the animal can get engaged in eating and you can take the milk out from the udder. But when we are going for mixed ration formulation, the major advantage in mixing is that all the nutrients, they get uniformly distributed in the ration and animal has no choice for selection. And it is very good when we are going for feeding in the groups so that the weaker animal, it may not be at loss. And such total mixed rations, they contain both the roughages and concentrates. But there are some advantages and disadvantages also, like if the animal is a very heavy milk yielder, in such cases, that animal may be at loss because its nutritional requirement may be high and you may be giving less amount of nutrients to that animal. Then there are special equipments for feeding the total mixed ration, and the most important which you should have at your farm, these are mixer blender unit and the weighing balance. Before feeding the animals with the ration, first you should go for feed analysis of the animal, because if you know the approximate composition of the feed ingredients which you are using for formulation of the ration, then you can prepare the ration judiciously, because it will help you and giving idea how much of the nutrients they need to be given to the animal depending upon its body weight. And usually we go for grouping of the animals to feed total mixed ration, and the success depends on dividing the herds in the group. Then there are different feeder systems. They may be magnetic, electronic, and the transponder system. Roughages, they usually occupy 60 to 80% of the dry matter in dairy rations. And roughages which are commonly used, they may be forages, fodder, hay, silage, and the pastures and the roadside grasses. And they vary in their nutrient content depending upon the stage of the harvest. Then the hay, it is also a fodder, and this fodder quality, it mainly depends upon the stage at which you are cutting. In order to prepare the hay, usually we take thin stemmed crops so that they can dry easily. First the crop is cut, they are dried in the sun in order to reduce its moisture content for keeping them in storage to be fed during the lean feeding period when no other fodders are available for feeding. And usually the cows eat more high quality than low quality hay. Alfalfa, it is the best hay for dairy cattle. Then green chop, usually you may have seen that at village level, the farmers, they harvest the forages and then they chop it. If you are giving whole length forage to the animal, it is difficult for the animal to eat. But if you are going for chopping, then it increases the animal's feed intake. And you should feed it in bunks. It should not be kept on the floor. Moreover, it also helps in reducing the feed losses. And although there is problem that daily you have to go for chopping of the fodder, and the moisture content in the green chop, it may vary from day to day. And this will decide the nutritional quality of the forage. Then the silages. Silage, in normal language, it is a preservative. It is a sort of pickle, green fodder pickle. In case of silage preparation, usually the green fodder, it is cut and it is chopped and made into small pieces, and then these are pressed in the these bunkers so that anaerobic condition may be made within the inside, and during the anaerobic conditions, the this soluble carbohydrates which are present in the crop, they may change to lactic acid, which helps in production preservation of the feeding material. And this silage, it can be given to the animal during the lean period. This silage, it can be prepared, it should be prepared using the crops which are high in carbohydrate content, soluble carbohydrate content. Normally, the silage is not prepared of the proteinous crops because it leads to production of butyric acid, and this can destroy the silage quality. But if you are mixing it with some crops which contain higher amount of carbohydrates, you can go for preparation of the silage with the proteinous crops also. But you should take care that the silage, it should be kept in the silage and anaerobic condition should be maintained. If somehow the air enters the silage, it can deteriorate the silage. Sometimes the hay crops, they can also be made into the silage for increasing its quality. Then the corn silage, it is the most popular roughage for dairy cattle, and it can be easily stored and handled. This corn silage, it is low in minerals, but in this case, you also need supplements. Then there are certain other feeds like sorghum silage, Bermuda grass silage, small grain silage, straw, corn stover, and pasture. Then grains. Grains, they are also included in the ration for energy content, and grains, they normally contain 70 to 80% total digestible nutrients. And grains need to be processed prior to feeding for making it more digestible. Normally, if you are going for preparation of concentrate mixture, it should include the energy supplements and protein supplements along with the mineral mixture. If you are preparing 100 kg concentrate mixture, then you can go for selection of the cereal crops. You can use any of the cereal crops, cereal grains like maize, corn, bajra, barley, and it is added about 35 kg. Then you need to add cereal byproducts about 20 kg, which may include rice bran, wheat bran, de-oiled rice bran. Then 10 kg, it should be dal chuni. 32 kg, it should include the oil cakes like mustard cake, sunflower cake, this groundnut cake, whatever is available in the locality. If you are using the local ingredients, it will help in reducing the cost of the ration. And in concentrate mixture, you need to add 2 kg mineral mixture and 1 kg salt, which is very much essential to keep the animal productive and healthy. Then there are certain factors which help in deciding the ration quality. The first is the animal body weight, then lactation. Daily milk production in past and present lactation should be recorded of the first month. Then the fat content in the milk, it should also be taken into consideration. The environment, temperature and humidity, because these affect the intake of the feed. Then the oil feeds and roughages which are present in the locality and their nutritive value. For every 3 liter milk, you need to give 1 kg concentrate in case of cow. And for every 2.5 liters milk, you need to give 1 kg concentrate for buffalo, because the buffaloes, they contain more of the fat content compared to the cow. The corn, it is the most commonly used grain in dairy cattle, and it is high in energy and palatable, and it can be stored at relatively high moisture content in a silo. Then oats, these are also excellent for dairy cattle and they contain lower energy, but these are higher in protein compared to the corn. Oats, they help in adding the fiber and bulk to the grain mixture. If the fiber content is less, then the microbes which are present in the rumen, they won't be able to get their nutrients. And in such cases, the microbial protein production will be low. And this will affect the overall nutritional requirement of the animal. And the barley, it is almost same as the corn and it can be used to replace about 50% of the grain ration. Wheat, it is high energy and protein and prices are usually high for the wheat and no more than 50% of the grain ration should be replaced for the wheat because it affects the viscosity. Then different protein supplements, they can also be added in the dairy cow ration like corn gluten meal, distillers dried grains, soybeans and soybean meal, sunflower meal, linseed meal, cottonseed meal, urea and other NPN sources. Byproducts and other processed feeds, they are also used like alfalfa meal, alfalfa leaf meal, wheat pulp, brewer's grain, citrus pulp, and whole cotton seed. If you are using whole cotton seed, it acts as a bypass protein source and it helps in increasing the total milk production and also the fat quality. Then other sources are corn, gluten feed, hominy feed, barley sprouts, molasses, potatoes, soybean hulls, wheat bran, wheat middlings, and whey. Wheat bran, it should be included in the ration of the animal because it is laxative in nature and it is also high in the phosphorus content. If the animal is having phosphorus deficiency, the energy reactions in the body of the animal are affected. Then mineral contents, they also have very important role in dairy cattle like calcium. It is mainly needed for the production of milk and also for the growth of the bones and teeth. Then phosphorus, I already told you. The major symptom of calcium deficiency is that the animal starts licking the wall of the housing shed, and if the animal has phosphorus deficiency, then the normal deficiency, it is seen as pica. In this, the animal tries to eat whatever is in front of the animal. Then magnesium deficiency, potassium, and this sodium and chlorate, these are also very much important for maintaining the cation and anionic balance within the body of the animal. Then sulfur deficiency, iodine deficiency, iron, copper, cobalt, manganese, all these have important other roles within the body of the animal. Then zinc, it is the main element which affects the carbohydrate metabolism within the animal. If you are going for formulation of mineral mixture, if you want to prepare 100 kg, then you can prepare mineral mixture by using bone meal 45 kg, calcium carbonate 10 kg, dicalcium phosphate 12 kg, iodized salt 30 kg, yellow oxide of iron 500 grams, potassium iodide 250 grams, starch 750 grams, sodium 750 grams, cobalt chloride 50 grams, manganese sulfate 300 grams, and copper sulfate 250 grams. The vitamin deficiency in the animal can lead to very much deficiencies. Like if there is vitamin A deficiency, the animal will become more susceptible to the infections. If there is vitamin D deficiency, then the bone disorders are more common. And if there is vitamin E deficiency, then fertility problems may arise within the animal. So the animals, they need to be given these vitamins daily. Mostly it has been seen that the calcium sources, these green forages, these are rich in calcium, and the grains, they are rich in phosphorus, and the animal requirement is met out. But when the animal is having fast growth rate or the animal is having high milk production, In such cases, supplementation is needed. And mostly the bypass protein and bypass fat, they need to be given when the animal is having fast growth rate and the animal is in having high production, or the other feed which you are giving, it is of inferior quality. The vitamin A requirement is usually met out through the green roughages, vitamin D through the hay, and for vitamin E, this you need to given these supplements. The massive doses of vitamins, they should be avoided because in long run, they may become toxic. The 6 grams of niacin is required per cow per day to increase the milk production. The vitamin B complex, they can be given, although its deficiency does not arise within the animal because these vitamins, they get synthesized within the body. But in some cases, you need supplementation is needed. Then the water is also of prime importance. You know that like human beings, the animals, they also need the same 6 nutrients: carbohydrate, protein, fat, mineral, vitamin, and water. Without water, the other nutrients utilization within the body is affected. Milk, it is about 85 to 87% water. And if you are not providing the water, the milk production is affected. Normally, the animal consumes twice the water content, the dry matter the animal consumes. The dairy cow requires more water than any other farm animal when they are in lactating state. Then as the air temperature increases, the need for water also increases. The body condition score, it very much is essential in determining the health status of the animal. If you are going for scoring, the average score, it should be about 4. And the 1 indicates that the animal is very thin, and 5, the animal is having excessive fat. If there is excessive fat, it can lead to reproductive problems within the animal. And if it can lead to lethargic situation. If the animal is very thin, it means the animal is undernourished. For maximum milk efficiency, dairy cows must not be too thin or too fat. When we are going for feeding the lactating dairy cows, the total ration should contain about 18 to 19% crude protein during the early lactation, and you should reduce the crude protein to 13% later in the lactation period, because with the passage of time, the milk production decreases, and there is no more requirement of the protein for milk production. The protein degradability also should be considered when you are feeding the high producing cows. Suppose you are want to feed 400 kg animal, and the animal is having production of about 5 kg milk, then this animal needs to be given about 2.5 kg concentrate, 6 kg dry roughages, and 11 kg of green roughage. And if the animal is having 10 kg milk production, then 4 kg concentrate, 4 kg dry roughage, and 20 kg of green bursine. And if the animal is producing 15 kg milk per day, then 5.5 kg concentrate, 4 kg dry roughage, and about 20 kg of green bursine. As the milk production increases, there is need to increase the concentrate. And on an average, if you can see, you can very well see that if the animal is having 400 kg body weight, the average requirement of green roughages, it is about 1/10 of the body weight of the animal, and the requirement of dry fodder, it is about 1/100th of the body weight of the animal. Suppose that if the animal is having 400 kg, then the average requirement of green fodder, it is about 40, and the dry matter requirement, it is about 4 kg. Because the dry matter content, it varies depending upon the stage of the harvest of the crop. With the maturity of the crop, the crude protein decreases. Although the dry matter content increases. In case of dry cow feeding, the nutrients are not mainly the maintenance need. It can be met out by simple feeding the roughages, and there is no need to feed the concentrate. And the total dry matter intake, it is about 2% of the body weight, whereas in normal cases it is about 2.5 to 3% of the body weight. If no grain feed is being fed in the dry period, then it can lead to some deficiency. So during the last 2 weeks before calving, grains, they need to be given. For feeding the herd replacement, when the animal is shifting from calf to youngling stage, then the calves, they need to be given soon after birth the colostrum milk. And because it is laxative in nature, it helps in protecting the animal from various deficiencies, and moreover it helps in uh, preventing the digestive problems, because it helps in excretion of the meconium, which is the first feces. Colostrum, it is the first milk which needs to be given to the young ones, and you should try to give the animal the solid food as soon as possible, because it helps in transitioning from liquid feed to solid feed. From calf to weanling to 1 year, usually they need to be fed properly, and about 4 to 5 grams of grain they need to be given per day, and the energy intake level should be carefully controlled as the animals grow from 3 months to puberty. Normally, during the first lactation period, the in addition to the normal maintenance requirement, the animal needs to be given over and above 20% of the maintenance ration, because the animal is still in growing stage. And during the second lactation period, the animal's maintenance ration, it is in that ration, you have to include 10% additional ration feed, so that the animal may attain its full maturity. When the heifers are from 1 to 2 years of age, good quality forage needs to be given. Grains, they may be given about 1.6 to 1.8 pounds, and heifers, they are mainly given fed on mature, heavily grazed pastures. And during the last 2 months of gestation, proper care, it needs to be given. Usually, underfeeding or overfeeding energy feeds in heifers can lead to reproductive issues. Overfeeding, it can cause early heat. However, cows may have later breeding issues also. And if there is underfeeding, it can cause silent heats or discontinued heats. And for making the animal reproductive, there should be regular supplementation of vitamin A and zinc. Then when you're going for feeding of the feeds, then the feed processing, the feed should be processed in such a manner that it can be consumed by the animal and its intake can be increased. And for this, you can go for different methods like soaking, like this grinding. Thank you. Hello.
Ha, madam. Thank you so much. Participants have any query?